Have you ever looked at an old picture of yourself, maybe from a few years ago, months ago, or weeks ago, and you just felt like you were looking at someone different? Not completely different, but not completely you either. You remember being that person, you recognize them, and yet something just feels off. Like you moved on, but you're still frozen in time. So then the question becomes, if that was you and this is you, what exactly connects the two versions of you? And what are you exactly? So I won't define what you are in this video. What I'll instead do is talk about three perspectives, each built on centuries of thought, doubt, and contradiction. And you might want to listen closely because somewhere between these ideas, you might recognize yourself or even get more confused. So, let's look at what the Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Carl Jung has to say about it. For Jung, the question, who am I, is not meant to be answered. It is meant to transform you. He would argue that what you initially called I is only an ego, a small conscious fragment of a much larger psyche, beneath which lies the personal unconscious, which is the forgotten experiences, repressed emotions, and still the collective unconscious, which is the shared reservoir of archetypes, patterns, and inherited psychic structures, exist. To Jung, the real self is not the ego, but the self with a capital S is, which is a totality that includes both conscious and unconscious aspects. And most people never fully encounter it. And you must have heard a very famous saying, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So when you ask, who am I? Young would say, you are not just your thoughts, your roles, your personality traits. You are also everything you have rejected, which is hidden or you just never dared to face. So when you think about that, think of the reactions that you justify, the patterns that you repeat, or the things you avoid looking at or accepting them as part of yourself. The journey then is what he calls individuation, which is a lifelong process of integrating these fragmented parts, be it ego, shadow, anima, animus, and deeper archetypal forces, into a more unified self. Then, who am I becomes less of a definition and more of a direction and a process where you are what you are aware of, you are also what you are unaware of, and you are the process of bringing these two into dialogue. So, in Jung's view, you do not find yourself, you become yourself slowly, painfully, and by confronting the full complexity of your inner world. Now, let's look at what French philosopher, mathematician, scientist, who is widely recognized as a central figure in the development of modern philosophy, René has to say about it. The question, who am I, begins in sort of a doubt, actually, just a doubt. He systematically strips it away like a chicken wing, everything that can be questioned sensory experience, the external world, even the body, until he reaches something indisputable. I think, therefore I am. And in that moment, the self is revealed not just as a body or as a role or as a thinking thing. It is what you perceive, not what you own, and not even necessarily what you feel. You are the act of thinking in itself, the awareness that cannot doubt its own existence without proving it. Pretty smart, right? But there's a subtle tension over there. If you're only a thinking thing, then who is the one observing the thoughts? Is the self a thinker or the witness of thinking? He gives you certainty, but at a cost. He reduces the self to clarity and reason, leaving aside the irrational, the unconscious, or the embodied. You can watch your thoughts change, you can notice your personality shift, you can even catch yourself reacting in ways you don't agree with. So, if you can observe all of that, What exactly are you? So, in his frame, who am I becomes I am the one who cannot be doubted. Moving forward, I remember once trying to go back to a version of my life I thought I missed deeply. Same place, same routine, same people, but it just did not feel the same. Not because things had changed, but because I had. And that's when it hit me. You can't really go back to who you were, even if everything looks the same and is the same. You are not. This is where Heraclitus defines the self as a flux. The Greek philosopher from Ephesus, known for his doctrine of constant change, he often summarized it in a phrase which says, everything flows. He proposed that reality is in a state of perpetual flux and introduced the concept of logo, which means an underlying order governing change. His ideas had a lasting influence on metaphysics and the philosophy of becoming. For him, the essence of reality is not stability, but constant change. His most famous idea, which I am pretty sure you must have heard of, or you will at least now, is you cannot step into the same river twice. And why is that? It's because both you and river are always changing. So when you ask, who am I? Heraclitus would respond, you are not a fixed identity. You are a process of becoming. Your thoughts, your body, your desires, feelings, beliefs, and fears are all in motion. And yet, he introduces the concept of logos, which is an underlying order or pattern within this chaos. So while everything flows, it is not random. There is hidden coherence to the change. This creates a paradox. You are never the same person, yet there is something that connects all of your version. Every version of you has felt real while you were in it, and yet you've already outgrown yourself which you once thought you'd always be. You are, in fact, not even the same person who clicked on this video. So, if every version felt like you, what makes this one any more real? So, who am I becomes am I the river or the pattern within its flow? And now the question just deepens but does not resolve. Are you the thinker, the flow, or the unknown within? Or are you the tension between all three? And if it made you even more confused, like it did to me, I think that's what the point of this video was. Thank you.